All right, time now to check in with business news, and we have Timothy Renshaw from Business in Vancouver with us. And we mentioned a hot button issue, and that would be salmon aquaculture.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about what's going on right now and why this has issue's been brought up once again.
Well, a report has just been released by a federal standing committee on what's called closed containment aquaculture.
Okay.
Which is, instead of having open nets in the water, you have closed
Off areas,
yeah,
right?
So they're separated from the wild environment in a lot of ways. So people look at that as one solution to the interaction.
Yeah, between the wild salmon
which is
and
a
the
big
farm
issue,
salmon,
which is one of the big
which
issues.
is one of the problems. So pros and cons of this.
Well, the pros are that, as I say, it separates it from the wild environment, reduces the chance of escapement and pollution and that sort of thing.
Right.
The downside is that the energy required for close containment is a lot more, so you get a bigger carbon footprint.
Right.
It costs more. And so, depending on what kind of salmon you raise in it, if you're raising Atlantic salmon and the price for that drops, then you've got an issue with, the cost to raise against the cost you sell is going to be an issue. So.
Now, you got some numbers here. $691 million, the value of farm salmon raised in Canada in 2010. 14%, the percentage of fish and seafood production in Canada generated by aquaculture, and 35%, the percentage of value of fish and seafood production in Canada generated by aquaculture. So, do you think BC is doing enough to sort of try and move this sort of fishing along?
Well, as you can see, it's steadily becoming a really important fishery for not just for Canada, but for all over the world.
Right.
And there's a lot of competition. So in BC, there's a moratorium on new licenses for fish farms. So in Canada, we haven't really increased production for 10 years.
Right.
And the demand in the U.S. is growing all the time. I mean, it's estimated to be 5% a year annual increase in demand for farm salmon.
And we send most of our salmon out of BC, right? The farm salmon.
That's right. Well, I mean, some of it's sold here, but there are markets elsewhere where you could, there's opportunities. So, yeah.
All right. If you want some more information on this, you can go to Business in Vancouver. Thank you, Timothy. We'll see you tomorrow.